I got one word for you. America. America. One of the things that America has as its just core DNA is that impossible? Okay, watch this. Hold my beer. Hold my beer should be the national slogan, right? Because America does impossible things 3 times before lunch. It's kind of really built into who we are. That you tell me I can't do that, I'm really interested now. One of the things we should do in this country is create, I say this a million times, create brand new towns and cities from scratch, where we just say, all right, throw out all the rules. If you were going to build a city from scratch, knowing what we know today, what would you do right and what would you do wrong? It feels to me there's also a change coming. So you're seeing the change with the Middle East. You're seeing that the Rasmussen poll is showing that people are having a different opinion about the president. I believe that the longer the protests go, the more people's minds about them will shift toward increasingly negative. They're already negative, but even increasingly so. So that's another shift. And I think that critical race theory has probably been surfaced to the point where more people know what it is, and then also debunked by at least some portion of the public, even though some still like it. So I think there's just a lot happening, big changes in the way we're thinking about stuff. There are big changes in the world, but also in the way we're thinking of things. I think the psychology that's happening to the country because of the Middle East is bigger than you think. Because I've said this before, that, and I think this will be my favorite thing to say, that President Trump is bad at easy stuff. And by easy stuff, I mean anything that Joe Biden says in public is easy stuff. Right? Joe Biden just says, what is the thing I'm supposed to say? Okay, can you write that on the teleprompter for me so I can read it? All right, and I'll read it. That's easy stuff. Everybody can read the thing you're supposed to say. President Trump, either he chooses not to or he's not good at it, but it ends up looking the same. He just doesn't do easy stuff. He's just not good at it, or he doesn't care, or something. But the net result is that he's not good at easy stuff. But man, is he good at impossible stuff. The impossible stuff? I mean, literally things that people said, well, that can't be done. You can't do all that stuff in the Middle East and expect to get a good outcome. What's happening? I don't understand what's happening. You did everything wrong, according to me being somebody else. How can you get such a good result? And if you do the impossible often enough, what does it do to people's minds? I got one word for you. America. America. Well, the most defining characteristic of the founding of this country, give me one word. Give me one word that describes the American Revolution better than any other word. You ready? That one word that explains the American birth, the most critical thing that happened to our future in America, the Revolution, George Washington. One word. Impossible. Impossible. The founders of this country set out to defeat the biggest military power of its day. And then did. Then they did. And not only did they beat the most impressive military power of its day, but then they built this document that would last hundreds of years and keep us on the right path, and also make the United States not just pretty good, but the most dominant country in civilization. China's doing pretty well too, but you know what I mean. And I've always thought that bit of starting from the impossible permeates everything about the way you think. When Steve Jobs, do you know the story of Steve Jobs? He was a teenager and he wanted to build a computer. And he called, was it Hewlett or Packard? I can't remember, one of the Hewlett Packard guys. Just called a billionaire at home. He's a teenager. Steve Jobs is a teenager. He calls a billionaire at home, says, I want to build a computer, but I need some parts that you might have. Can you give me some parts? And he did. He gave him some parts. And then Wozniak and Jobs built a computer. Now, if anybody had asked you, was that possible? Well, in the sense that anything's possible, but kind of looked impossible. How about the Wright brothers? How about going to the moon? How about Elon Musk building first the Tesla car and then, getting ready to go to Mars? It's all impossible. One of the things that America has as its just core DNA is that impossible? Okay, watch this. Hold my beer. Hold my beer should be the national slogan, right? Because America does impossible things 3 times before lunch. It's kind of really built into who we are. That you tell me I can't do that, I'm really interested now, all right? So when you watch the President of the United States, the person who is, according to all the smart people, couldn't possibly do this thing, whatever the thing is that you're talking about at the moment, and then you watch him do it, first getting elected, that was kind of impossible, wasn't it? Just getting elected for Trump seemed pretty impossible. Did that. How about shaking hands with Kim Jong-un and basically defusing that whole situation? Did that seem possible? Hold my beer. And when you watch the Middle East coming together in a big way, and you watch even, let's say, the decoupling from China, which is on the way, by the way. We are literally decoupling from China, one of the best economic things that could ever happen to this country. It's a whole bunch of impossibles. It's just one impossible thing after another. And the more you watch Trump, and I hate to, it's hard to not say Jared Kushner in the same sentence, because, this is a team effort, and so Kushner needs to get, A+++ on this, as well as his staff. And you watch him do the impossible, and what does it do to your mind? You're an entrepreneur, and you're thinking, I couldn't do that before, that's impossible. And then you watch people do impossible stuff all day long on TV, the president in particular. It changes you. So that's the big question. The big change is how we're thinking about everything. An interesting little side note, Kanye is getting really active on Twitter today, and he's complaining about all the big music industry and entertainment industry contracts, but I think he's extended it to contracts in general. And the point about how they're written in legalese, so you don't know exactly what you're getting, and it's very unfair for the artists because they're the least capable of knowing what they signed. An artist is not a lawyer. So if they work with lawyers against lawyers, they don't really know what they've signed. And, I've got lots of experience with contracts, both in my corporate world, that's what I did for a living for a while, and in my Dilbert life, which is just nothing but contracts all day long, contracts and contracts. So I'm fairly experienced at doing that stuff. But Kanye's point, I am so in favor of, to the point where I thought that one of the things we should do in this country is create, I say this a million times, create brand new towns and cities from scratch, where we just say, all right, throw out all the rules. If you were going to build a city from scratch, knowing what we know today, what would you do right and what would you do wrong? For example, I would say that you can't have legalese in this town. You can have contracts, but they have to be written in English. By the way, in my early corporate days, I'd often get contracts from my lawyer who, some response to something else that we had to do. And I would take my lawyer's legalese and I would just rewrite it into 3 paragraphs in English. And then I would give it back to my lawyer and say, okay, this is what it would look like if you wrote it in real people language. Is there anything wrong with this? And my lawyer would look at it and go, nope, nope, there's nothing wrong with it. You can actually rewrite what I wrote in English language so that other people would know exactly what you mean and nobody will be confused. And there was no problem at all. It's just that if you're a lawyer, you don't do it because you need to keep up appearances. You want to make sure you've covered 100% of your risk, whereas, maybe I got 99. So I would see a town that has no legalese. I would want the insurance to be the government. There would be no insurance of any kind for your car, your health insurance, your house, or anything except the government. And the profit from that would be your taxes. So you wouldn't pay taxes, you would just buy insurance. Buy insurance for your car, buy insurance for healthcare. You just buy insurance. And the profit from that would replace taxes. I would also get rid of money so that you only have crypto and nobody has to touch anything and you don't need a bank. So I'd get rid of banks, money, lawyers with legalese. Maybe you need the lawyers still, but I'd get rid of the legalese. I'd get rid of insurance except by the government and do a lot of other things. That's just a start. So when you see Kanye talking about this, you might think this is a small deal. That's a small deal, talking about lawyers having complicated language. Isn't that like the smallest deal you could work on? Nope. Because that language is a confusopoly. It's designed to make you not know what you're signing. It's a big problem. I am so with Kanye on this, and he has definitely identified a genuine problem of major magnitude to a lot of people. So good luck, Kanye, on that.